Alright, it's finally time to do a fun mod. I'm going to install my Antirock today. If I have time, I'm going to do the steering as well, but I'm going to start with the Antirock. I do still have the factory swaybar studs on my axle, so I'm going to get those out first and then start putting the parts on. To get these studs out, they are just studs, they're just pressed in, but if you try to hammer them, it's going to bend this tab over to the right. So what I do is I just cut them off right here with an angle grinder. So cut that part off with an angle grinder. This will be the part that's still stuck in the axle. Drill a little hole in the tip of it, you know, something small enough just where the tip of this puller can get in there. Hit it with a little bit of map gas and then crank it out with a wrench or ratchet or whatever. Comes right out of there. Alright, I'm going to hammer these in now. I'm just going to use a 4-pound dead blow. Give it a little tap, tap, taparoo. I did spray some fluid film inside this tube just to, you know, prevent corrosion in the future, since this will be sealed up now, basically. Alright, so here comes the not so fun part, apparently. I'm going to grease these up a lot. Alright, let's see if this will go in without knocking the bushing out of the other side. Nice. Oh, that feels right. Oh yeah, that's it. Okay. Alright, so we gotta go another inch roughly. Oh, that's like perfect. Okay, sweet. It's like right between 7/8 and 15/16 sticking out on both sides. Nice. Alright, so this is where I guess every Jeep is a little different. This angle is determined more by your suspension and not necessarily an angle that's, you know, generic. So based on my lift height, my bump stops, my shocks, you know, all that stuff, I'm going to just start with these being completely parallel to the frame. And then in the future, if I need it to be angled different, or if it's, you know, creating issues with the suspension or limiting flex or something like that, I can always adjust it from there. But I'm going to start with a very neutral position based on my particular setup. That looks good. This side looks good. Alright, let's bolt it on. Finally, I'm putting some bolts in. This is an updated, you know, like look to the Antirock. This looks a lot different than what I remember it looking like. Not sure when they made the change, but I do like this one. I think it looks cool. I just noticed it's blocking my steering bolt. That's annoying. My steering box bolt. So whenever I change the steering box, I guess I'll have to remove the sway bar. Alright, gotta assemble the links. I got 2 left-hand threaded ones, 2 right-hand threaded, and same with the jam nuts. Oh, thank you, Currie, or thank you, RockJock. They are labeled R or L. That is very nice. Alright, so I just measured my Jeep and my mounting points on the Antirock down to the lower link mount on the axle is about 7.5 inches. So these links fully compressed only go down to 10.5. So I need to cut 1.5 inches of threads off on each side, which shouldn't be a big deal. Yeah, that'll be fine. They do sell links that are different sizes and different lengths too, but these are the ones I have. These are 8.5 inches. So the 6.5 would have been better for me. Alright, so I got this set up in my bandsaw. And I'm going to cut 1.5 inches off here. I have the threads, or I have the nuts threaded on too, so that I can just unthread them to kind of fix the, you know, where it's cut here. And I'm using my my miter just to make sure I do a straight cut. Ooh, it's hot. Nice. So I've got, you know, a full inch of thread engagement still. Alright, that'll work. Cut it 3 more times. Alright, so I just got the driver's side link dialed in. It is almost perfect. I'm going to do the passenger side now. I had to get a little creative because even with these cut down 1.5 inches, they are still too long because there's not enough thread down here to run the links on any further. So I'm going to show you how to fix that without buying more parts. Alright, so I'm going to cut the 1.5 inches off of the left-hand thread side. Okay, for the right-hand thread side, I'm going to cut 2 inches off. Alright, now clean the ends up on the grinder. Alright, I know what you're saying. That's way too short of a thread. You know, that's not enough thread engagement for this end link. And you're right, so we're going to fix that too. I'll take the nut off. Dip it in the vise. Put some oil on it. Now I've got a 1/2 inch by 20 tap here, or die, excuse me. I'm going to run this on, and I'm going to thread this rod farther down. Alright, there. So now I have a much shorter rod. It's threaded all the way down as far as I can go until it hits the flats of the link. So there. Now I've got plenty of thread engagement on that end I cut extra short. And it'll let me thread this end link on any, even farther. Alright, there. I put a little bit of grease on the tip of these where I cut them and the threads. So hopefully they don't get galled up or seized up. Okay, now my link is down to 8 inches. So I'm within half an inch. It was actually between 7.5 and 7 3/4 that I needed on this Jeep. So I'm right at 8 now, which is pretty good. It's a lot closer than it was without me doing all that modification. So it's actually 7 7/8, 7 15/16. So I would do this side too, the left-hand thread side, but I don't have a left-hand thread die. So, but this will be close enough. My Jeep, I did some more measurements, and my Jeep has roughly 6 inches of up travel and roughly 6 inches of down travel based on where my bump stops are and how long my shocks are, which makes sense because it is a Skyjacker kit that they would have, ride height right in the middle of the suspension travel on a Jeep with this much lift. So having those front arms parallel to the ground at regular ride height is the correct thing to do. So, all right, I'm gonna get this one thrown in on the passenger side and we will be done. Alright, these are 18mm nuts with a 6mm hex in the end, so you can hold the link from spinning. And then it's a 3/4 or 19mm to lock these jam nuts. Alright, there it is. Alright, all done. That wasn't a bad install at all. The hardest part was just trimming those end links and then rethreading them, which wasn't hard. It was just a little time consuming and a little unexpected. So I was going to do my steering, but it looks like my suspension has settled a little bit, the new lift kit, and my axle is no longer centered. It's pushed over to the driver's side like maybe half an inch. So I need to lengthen my track bar just a little bit to compensate for that. So I'll do that and then I'll do the steering. That way everything's, lined up and correct the way it should be. But for now I'm done. So I got a sway bar again. Alright, so next video will be the steering, and I'll probably get the track bar and everything fixed at the exact same time and a new steering stabilizer. And then after that, the front will be dialed, plus a new drive shaft for the front.